fun people, welcome back to yet another video on my channel, welcome back. Yeah, so let's get right to it. Today I wanted to talk about Generation Z because I feel like our generation gets a lot of shade, and I just kind of want to come on here and talk my shit for a moment because I really feel like our generation is one of the most important, significant, amazing, brilliant generations out there, and I do believe firmly that we are changing the world in ways that other people cannot and other generations cannot. So first and foremost, for reference, I will probably put the video that I made a couple years back, probably like 2018, regarding generations and the different generations. Our different generations, obviously Generation X, Generation Y, which I believe is millennials, which is before Gen Z, and then Gen Z starts in literally 1996, all the way to Generation Alpha, which, to get technical because I don't want to mess up the terms, but I want to know when Generation Alpha starts. Let me Google real quick. Generation Alpha is right after so it's starting early 2000s. Let me make sure. Okay, so Generation Alpha is 2010 to 2024, and then Generation Beta will be 2025 to 2039. So that's what we're looking at right now, and we're Generation Z, which is 1996 all the way up until 2009, 2010, which is where the next generation starts after us. And so what I want to shed light on is pretty much like, I guess, what we get picked on, because I think there's a lot of stuff that goes viral on TikTok and just like all these different platforms about Gen Z and Gen Zers, and like the way that we are, the way that we go about shit, how butthurt we get and all these different things. But I just feel like our generation is very passionate. And again, like, I'm 1996, so I identify with millennials, and I also identify with Gen Z because I'm right in the middle. But I definitely identify even more with Gen Z. And so what we're looking at when we're looking at Gen Z, it's like a lot of us and most of our generation, we're basically the fuck that job generation. So we're out here making moves when it comes to financial, like, comfortability, and also job satisfaction. So we're not the generation that is just gonna sit here and stay at a job that they absolutely hate for years and years and years. We're not that generation at all. We're actually the generation that is going to sit here and make sure that we have a job that fulfills us and a career that fulfills us. And I also want to take the moment to discuss the differences between a career and a what's it called, a career and a job. Because a job is just an occupation, something that you go to, whatever, like a payroll specialist, for example. That is a job. A career is, you know, something that takes time, takes hard work, dedication, persistence. We can compare like a career would be like Miss Oprah Winfrey, okay? Like, that's a career. You know what I'm saying? She started off in broadcasting, I'm pretty sure, and then just kind of worked her way up to pretty much just, I mean, I'm just gonna, just to be Oprah, because I mean, who else is Oprah? But yeah, so like, there's a very clear difference, and I think our generation is very much like focused on making sure that we enjoy what the fuck we do in our life. Like, we're definitely not that generation that's just gonna sit there and bitch about it and not do anything about it. Because to be honest, like, job satisfaction is very, very, very important. Career satisfaction is very, very important in life, because if you don't love what you do, we're here on earth for a limited time of period, or a limited time. So it's like, you want to sit here and do some shit that you don't enjoy for that time? I think the fuck not. So yeah, that's one thing that my generation is great at. So if you're in Generation Z, you're probably, you know, definitely agreeing with this and identifying with the fact that we are the fuck that job generation, which I love that for us. So additionally, we are a generation that is very authentic to the core. Like a lot of people that are popping off, especially, and let's talk about 2000s babies, right? Because you know, there's this whole thing, I'm a 90s baby, so like everybody's always like, oh, 90s babies are the shit, like 90s babies, you know what I'm saying, we're 90s babies, like, and I feel it, like I love it here. I definitely love the year I was born and everything like that. However, I just feel like we need to stop the slander towards these kids that were born in the 2000s, because whatever, yes, the 90s might have been more iconic, you know what I'm saying, pop culture wise and all these different music wise, you know, the 90s are superior. We peaked as humanity at that time. But like when it comes to the 2000s, like the 2000s was doing some shit too, and like it was definitely a staple era. So it's like we can't sit here and write people off just based off the time they were born. And I also want to say that all of these kids that were born in the 2000s, 2003, 2004, 2005, like all of these kids are out here making moves. Like there is a lot of people, especially on TikTok and all these different things, like y'all want to sit here and slander and, you know, make fun of Gen Z and all this shit, but like what are y'all doing realistically? Because Gen Z is up and at it. Like I don't see one person in Generation Z that is not focused on doing something that fulfills them, that's not focused on, you know what I'm saying, doing the shit that makes them happy. You know, I feel like the generations before us gave too much of a fuck, and we're the generation that's like, we don't give a fuck. Like we're here to just do us, and y'all either like it or you don't. Like whether you like it, that is not our problem. So pretty much that's the vibe of this generation. So yeah, like pretty much what I'm trying to say is stop the slander. Please, to all these people that were born in the 2000s, you're iconic in your own way. Don't let the slander get to you. And at the end of the day, the 2000s were an amazing, amazing era. I'll probably do a separate video on that. The 2000s was beyond iconic, and I remember it because I was there. So yeah, I feel like we need to stop the slander immediately to 2000s babies. And additionally, I just want to say that I commend everybody in our generation, because this time that we've been living through has been very transformative and very like difficult, very like stressful, like whatever you want to call it. And I think like our generation is doing such an amazing job. Like we're the future, people. Like we are the future. Our generation is literally the future, and you know, we got to set ourselves up, continue to set ourselves up in a positive manner for the future generations and just the future society, because there is definitely a shift coming, whether you want to accept it or not. You know, technology is 1000%. I'll probably make another video pertaining to that, but technology is 100% going to be more and more prevalent and relevant as the years go by. So yeah, you might as well hop on your Gen Z. If you know somebody that was born in Gen Z, tap in with them and get some tips if you're not from our generation, because we know what the fuck we're doing, and we know where we're going, and we know where we see ourselves, and that in itself is a blessing. And shout out to the millennials as well. My sister's a millennial. I definitely respect the millennial generation. I believe y'all have paved the way in many ways for Gen Z, and you know, the generations after us are just about to continue to get more iconic. But last but not least, I'll end the video with this. I just want to say that Gen Z, the only thing that I would say that our generation needs to shift and kind of work on is getting butthurt off of everything, because not everything is meant to be taken personal. And I'm gonna tell y'all as an Aries and a Gen Zer, not everything is meant to be taken personal, and you can't get butthurt off of literally everything. There's a difference between being offended and actually having to take accountability, and accountability is a lost art, I believe, in this generation. So that's something we definitely can improve on. But yeah, if you like this video, go ahead and give it a like per usual. Subscribe only if you want to subscribe, and I will see y'all in my next video, YouTube video, IGTV video, or podcast.